Hello guys, welcome to TMX Adventures. Lisa here. It is Friday. Yay! I can't believe how close we are getting to Christmas. Today I'm going to do something that actually makes me a little nervous. We are going to make French macarons together. Now I have never made macarons. I am not a fiddly cook. I don't particularly like things that need to be the same size and shape. You probably know that already. And I've watched other people make this. One of the beautiful things about being a Thermomix consultant is you learn from other people. And one of the lovely ladies in my team, Nadia, many years ago, before we went online with our business, we got together and she taught us how to make macarons, and I was just blown away. Ever since then, I've always kind of thought about it and thought, not for me, just because they seem too hard. But I'm going to do it today. Did a vinegar wash video yesterday for you guys, and that's what's actually led me to this place of going, you know what, let's rip this band-aid off, let's do it, because it's one of those things that often these recipes are the ones that make memories. They're not the recipes of the everyday. It's not, your butter chicken for dinner, and it's not, your risotto. It's the things that you have to take a little bit of time and love with that make those memories. And you can do them with your family. You can assemble these, you can make them with your grandkids, your kids, your spouse, all those things, and it builds those memories. And if you think back to your childhood, you may have memories of cooking as well. So I thought, you know what, let's do it together. So let's give it a go. Let me tell you how I'm doing it, what I'm doing it with, and let's walk it through together. I have started it because the first step, let's get down here. Okay, for best results, follow the steps and ensure exact amounts. So first, place a bowl into position and place almonds. Now, those of you watching the replay on YouTube tonight, I have a picture of the almonds. I have a picture of the next step. By the way, if you're watching today, say hi. Those of you on Facebook and those of you watching replay, please hit the subscribe button. Okay, I'd love to know you are finding value in these. I also love it if you share them with people you know who have a Thermomix. So if you've got a relative, a friend who has one, make sure they know that these videos exist so that they can get more out of their Thermomix, regardless of where you are in the world. Because I know some of you guys are watching in from overseas too, which is super cool. All right, so 140 grams of almonds. Now, something to know, I use raw. I did not use blanched. Apparently, if you use blanched, you'll get really, you don't have the brown flecks in it. So I guess a clearer color. I just didn't want to buy something else when I've already got raw almonds. So I just went for raw almonds. It says ground. I just put almonds in and I have milled them down. Okay. So I remember my friend doing that when she made it. 170 grams of icing sugar. So I've got pure icing sugar. I did ask her advice last night. I said, do you use raw and mill it down? And she said, no, I've never tried. So I was not willing to give it that risk today. Okay. I was like, you know what? She said that, I'm doing it. Okay. So pure icing sugar, 170 grams. Then it says insert the measuring cup into the mixing bowl lid then. And by the way, she actually does, I think when I saw her recipe, this recipe did not exist. It may have been TM 5 days. So this recipe wasn't around. This one is well rated. Some of the others are not well rated or not as well rated. They actually still are okay. I guess the thing is with macarons, there's a little bit of time and technique to it. So there's a lot of places that could go wrong. So I wouldn't actually confidently say there's something wrong with those poorly rated other recipes or not as great. They're not actually that badly rated. It's just that they're not as great as this one. I'd say potentially there's room for error in these recipes. And that's where someone might go, you know what, I'm giving it a star rating of 2, but it's just because the egg white split or something like that. Okay, does that make sense? So I'm not going to disregard the other ones, but this is the best rated one. So I was going to go with this. So I milled it for 10 seconds, speed 10. And then it says to strain it using a mesh, a sieve. I don't feel I need to. That looks incredibly powdery. So I'm just going to leave it like that. And I'm going to then do what they said. And they said remove it and rinse. Now, I'm not going to rinse it. I'm going to now put in shortly my vinegar wash bowl. Okay, but what I'm going to put it into is I read ahead. That's why we started in the preview of this recipe because I found out later on we actually fold our egg mix into this mix in another bowl, which is this bowl. So I'm happy to transfer aside. However, I'm incredibly grateful to have been able to have a second bowl for the fact of being able to do that vinegar wash and know my eggs are not going to flop in this next step. So it normally says rinse the bowl. If you only have one bowl, at this point, you want to do a vinegar wash, check yesterday's video on how to do that, okay? So I'm not going to use this original bowl. I'm going to put it aside. I'm going to put my vinegar wash one in from yesterday. Okay, vinegar wash bowl. Nice and sparkle clean. No one used it. We had it aside. The butterfly's still there as well. Prepare a piping bowl bag with a small smooth tip. So I've got the green piping bags from the mix shop. I think they're on sale at the moment. They've been out of stock for a while. I think they've got them in. So check that out in the sale. Hello, Kelly. Lovely to see you on today. You just need a big one like that. Okay, obviously I've said I've never made this before. I would be hesitant to just use a piping bag with the end chopped off. I think you need it to be nice and solidly round to get a solid round shape, because when we pipe later, we're not doing this, we're piping on the spot. So it pushes out. So I think you need that beautiful circular. You do need a proper piping end for that, okay? They come in the mix shop in the Thermomix bags, so check that out. We'll come back to preparing that later. Line 4 baking trays with baking paper and set aside. Do not use a silicone mat. Now, I have a tip on that. So, remember last time I said I saw my friend do it like TM5 days? We didn't have the silicone mats then, okay? So she printed out on an A4 piece of paper an actual template for the macarons. Now, what we do have now is we do have a silicone mat that has the circles on it, but it will keep the mix too moist and wet because of the silicone. So we actually don't want to do it on it, but what we do want to do is have a piece of baking paper and put it over the top, and we can see our circles through. Okay, so what I'm doing today, and you might notice very weirdly, can you see I've got my rose gold upside down? We're doing that. I love that, Trish. You've made a few times, but the piping is the filling bit. Yeah, I'm scared. We'll see how we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to pipe these and then gently pull the mat out and put it under the next one. Okay, so rather than print out 4 pages worth of macarons, I'm going to use the silicone mat as a stencil under my baking paper. Okay, so make sure your baking paper is flat. I folded the ends in. That's also going to be helpful if you put your tray upside down. You've then got a flat tray with no little sidey up edges, which you don't want to have when you're trying to pipe. Okay, let's move on. Preheat the oven. I haven't done that yet. It's really hot today, so I'm going to avoid that and do it till wait till the end. Place a second bowl into position. So you need to have vinegar washed it, dried it, so now you're ready to do egg whites. So it's place a bowl into the mixing bowl lid. So it actually wants us now, and I'm just going to put my lid on, and I've got a jar, and it wants us to put 85 grams of granulated sugar. Now, I only have either raw or icing, and I think this might be I don't know which country this recipe is from, but I'm just going to use more of this, okay? It's not referencing icing sugar, but it will do the job because we're making a meringue, okay? So, 85 grams. Mind you, it's a little solid. It's this humidity at the moment. It is really, really, really hot. Okay, 85 grams is actually not a huge amount. Although at this rate, it's going to take me a long time. I was going to prepare this, and I was like, oh, I'll just shake it out of the bag. I actually think caster sugar would be your ideal on this one. But this will, like, if you're a bit like me and you don't tend to keep a variety of sugars in the house, I feel like raw is going to be a little too coarse. And also change the colour. You're going to get it a little bit different coloured. So since I've got this bag, I figured most will do it. The other thing you need to prepare for this recipe is your egg whites. They want your egg whites to be room temperature. They do say to leave them out for a while to let them evaporate. Now mine are room temperature because they live on a rack behind the Thermomix over there near you guys. So I'm not too worried about that, and I have had them out for a little while, but it's not the amount of time they want, but I think it'll still be fine. There is a bit of waiting in this recipe. That's also why it's kind of like another labour of love recipe. I'm hoping today you guys give this a go for either Christmas or things like this. Like, honestly, I have had a Thermomix 11 years and I've not made it. So if you can see how it's done and then you take it away and make it, I will be happy. Please send me photos. Okay. Remove the bowl, sugar, and set aside. This is also what I'm going to use later to set my piping bag in. That's why I thought I'll use that now. Okay, let's keep going. Insert the butterfly whisk. Butterfly whisk, vinegared from the other day. Yeah, I think I rinsed it. I can't remember. Do you guys realize yesterday in the video I forgot to tell you to rinse the vinegar out? I did make a note on the comment and I said, hey, I forgot to say this. And when I did the YouTube, I put a comment across the bottom that says, please remember to rinse. And I showed them how to rinse too. All right. Ensure the egg whites have 2 hours the rest uncovered at room temperature before using. They said something about letting it evaporate. I'm okay with let's just do it like this. 115 grams of egg whites, less than 4 eggs. Mine was my own eggs, so they're a little more, I think I did like 6 little eggs. Oh, pretty close. Can I do 1 gram? Probably not. Whew, I did. Very tempted to put a lot in. You guys know me, but heavy-handed. Without the measuring cup. Okay, my clean lid, which actually has a little bit of sugar on top. That's okay. This is the aeration now. Okay, so 1 minute speed, 3.5. Now, if you missed yesterday's video, if your egg whites split, do not throw them out. You are going to pick up the phone and go, Lisa, or if it splits at this point in time, you can put them with the yolks and turn them into a zucchini slice or a cake or something that uses 4 eggs, or just split the mix. Like, put the egg yolks in, whip them in, work out how much it weighs, split it in 2, and then you've got 2 whole eggs, right? You can freeze them in an egg tray, in an ice cube tray for another day. Okay, so don't let flopped eggs go to waste. They don't need to. There's absolutely no reason to chuck them out, all right? And they're too expensive these days. It's crazy. All right, the texture is changing. You guys can slightly see that in there. You can see that it's gone from liquid clear to now a white liquid. It's starting to thicken. It's only got 10 seconds left, and then we're going to start putting this powdered sugar in. That's why I also had the spoon to do that. Can't believe it's taken me this long to make meringues. I am a little nervous still, okay? Reserve granulated sugar without the measuring cup. Oh, do we totally just chuck it in? Whew. This is, let me just check, hang on. Yeah, we do. All right, I can do that step. All right, so in with the granulated sugar. Don't put the big hunks in. You can see how thick that's got, okay? All right. Ooh, this is a little different. I'm confident this recipe is rated well. I am confident. Kind of nervous. All right, here we go. Let's see how this goes. I thought I was going to have to be spoon by spoon like we do in a normal meringue. Definitely don't use raw sugar. Get to either use your icing sugar like I have, number 1, or use caster sugar, just because you're chucking it in. So the reason in a meringue we go scoop by scoop, and I mean we're putting in a meringue 300 grams usually, right? A lot of sugar. But we go scoop by scoop so it can dissolve each scoop, and that then does that whole fluffiness, okay, gives body to the fluffiness. Obviously, we've only got 85 grams, so that's why we can confidently, with a little bit of nerves, chuck it in as the recipe says. Okay, so there's only, can you believe, a couple more steps until we start doing the fiddly bit. So the actual beginning of this recipe, you can see it's actually not complex whatsoever, all right? By the way, I'm not going to be putting blueberries into this. I'm going to make a white chocolate center for it. So just, if you're going, oh, I don't know that I'd make it, it's got blueberries in it. I'm not doing blueberries either. Don't stress. So we've got 3 minutes. Something to consider is if you want to do colored ones, okay, you need to use a gel. So I've got my gel. I've just reached for my closest one. They're, oh, I hope these are gels. Now I'm questioning myself. I think they are. I think these are gels. Maybe they're oils. I do have gels in the cupboard too, but they're behind you. Oh, dearie me. The pressure is on. Let me just have a look. Hang on, guys. Where have I put? I think they're in the cupboard behind you. You're about to get up. Go up in the sky for a second. Excuse me while you look at my messy kitchen. Chairs are up. The vacuum's been on. Oh, I don't know where I put them. All right. Where'd you come? Back down. A little tour of my kitchen. We're going to rock and roll with those and hope they work. Okay. Well, what we might do is make sure we add them at the step with the, we won't let them touch the egg on their own. We'll make sure we're putting them through with the almonds. Didn't think about that before, so I've double questioned. All right, look at how glossy it's getting. So it's combining in well, it's dissolving really well. And let's make some space. This is a good time in your kitchen to get your piping bags ready. Now, I really love the 100 pack from the mix shop, okay? I appreciate it. What I do love about it is I actually double layer them. So I either use the green piping bag as the outer layer, or I use two of these. And I'm going to show you what I mean in a second. It means no fussing with the little collar. You know how when you have a piping bag, some of them come with an inner and a collar to hold it together? It means no fussing. And I'm a no fuss person. So, jar, I'm just going to put it up here to show you so you guys can see. Okay? Put this in. And then over the outside. Okay? This is what you do. And if you've got something taller, it works better. But I just don't. Because I filled up last night 2 of my massive jars with tomato relish. Okay? So I cooked that up last night. This is looking absolutely stunning. The next step will be to fold it gently. This is important into, I'm going to make a hole in the middle, into this beautiful mix with our food colouring. Okay, so we're going to have to do some folding. Again, this is a part that scares me a little, just because I don't take enough time. So I'm going to try today to put on my peacefulness and do that with you and take it nice and slow. So this is just about done, 10 seconds. There we go. All right, remove the butterfly whisk. So this egg white has not flopped. It is amazing. Look at that. You can see the bits up the side, the different texture in those bits. I think that's okay that they didn't quite make it in with the rest. So you can see that different texture. You can see they don't have the body. The sugar really gives it that body, but that's fine. It'll all go in together in a second and just be amazing. But I'm really happy with how that looks. So you can see that there, that egg whitey bit that hasn't got the sugar in it. Okay, butterfly out. Just lift it off, jiggle it inside. Remember your butterfly, it goes behind your high set of blades. Okay, butterfly out. Check. Looks yummy. Transfer the mix to a large bowl with the reserved sugar and almond mix. Look, I've already got food colouring. Add the food colouring and with the spatula, slowly fold the mixture in until just combined. Avoid the over whipping. Okay, let's spin over. Come on, do this with me. Let me get you guys up right. There we go. All right, we have a bowl. We have our mix. Probably in hindsight, guys, if you are watching this video later and doing it, take a stop through that, was it a 3-minute whip? And actually, my suggestion is try and get that top little bit of mix in that was sitting up the top of the bowl. Okay, even early on, so that it just gets included and has that sugar in it. It's all right, it'll be fine, but a little bit less mixing to do later then. Okay, in with that. Yum. Yum, yum. Okay, so I said let's not put the colouring actually on the mix. I'm going to put it into the almond sort of mix. I wonder, I might start mixing it first. Let's start this process. So, bringing it over, and we're trying not to lose the air out of the meringue. This is the patience part, because that's what's going to make us fluffy little meringues. Okay, I reckon about now I can safely add some colouring. I actually don't know where the rest of my colouring is. This one's out because the kids used it at a lesson they did a while back, making volcanoes maybe? I'm not sure, something that looks lovely. Okay, so we're just turning it over and trying to mix it all through without losing. So we don't want to beat it. It's a turn and fold when you're trying to fold in. If you beat it, you'll beat the air out of the meringue mix. So we don't want to do that. Might have got a little keen on the colouring, but that's okay. Just get the stuff off the bottom. The flies are a bit crazy. The heat has arrived, and so the flies are here. Can you tell I've got my concentrating slow thoughts happening? I wonder if I'm skilled enough to speed this part of the video up. Oh dear, nearly done. All right, now I want to show you in a second what we do with this piping bag. We do need to make sure this is combined well enough. Okay. wonder if they could make a folding attachment for the Thermomix. I'd love them to make a steaming, like an automatic steaming function. I was thinking about that as I was steaming my asparagus from the garden last night. If I could just have a button that I could push that does steaming. All right, I think, look at that. I think we're mixed through enough. So I don't see any dry bits. That actually was easier than I anticipated. Thank goodness for that. Okay, let me tell you what it says to do now. It says to avoid over mixing. Definitely not over mixing. Transfer to the prepared piping bag and pipe circles 2 centimeters diameter onto baking paper. All right, so give you this review. Let's put this in here. I'm going to show you why I use 2 bags. So alrighty. And by the way, when I say 2 bags, not 2 bags for the whole mix, although this mix may require 2 bags. I mean 2 bags each time I pipe. Keep your outside of your bag, if you've never piped before, keep your outside of your bag folded out. It means it keeps it kind of clean for later. Maybe this will actually not all fit in one bag. We'll see. Now, there's a little bit of dry mix in the bottom. Oh no, no, it's okay. It's not. Ah, the nervousness. All right, there we go. Mix is in. So, tastes yummy. All right, now we lift this up, give it a shake to get out the air bubbles. Now you notice there's no piping nib on the bottom at the moment, and purposely, okay? This is nearly too full. I can squeeze it, but only just. Okay, what I tend to do now, I'm going to number 1 twist the top so that nothing escapes. All right, so twist, twist, twist. You can put an elastic band on there. I have been known to get a hairband and put a hairband on there. It's going to go down fairly quickly as we pipe, so I'm not too worried about that. Let's bring over the tray. And you can see, you can just see through. You can see all my little circles from the silicone mat below. Now we need that piping nib, and we also need another bag. Now this is where the green bags from the mix shop come in handy, okay, because you can slide your pipe end into that. Mine are all in use. So we're using this. So now we take our little bit off the end. We then slide our pipe end in. This also means if you want to be fancy and do multicolored ones, you could actually have, you could have divided your mix, so you can do rainbow ones. This is what I'm saying. You could divide that mix into 2 bowls at the beginning, put half and half, then divide the egg white mix into half and half, and then put 2 different colors in. Then you've got 2 bags of colors. You do this, and you actually then, when you cut the tip of each bag, you slide each bag down the side, and you're going to have rainbow at the end. So that's fun to do as well. Talking about that making memories, it's a fun thing to do. Okay, this is now done. Okay, and now all I have to do is snip the end of this one. Okay, get that air pocket out. So we snip it before we put it in. It doesn't have to be all the way back. I don't actually like to do it all the way back. Turn it upside down though, just in case. And now we slide this all the way into the bottom of this one. We then collectively push them together. Don't squeeze it as you do that. Try and keep it upside down. Okay, and now collectively squeeze the ends together and let's make circles. So on the mat, start in the middle, press until you reach the outer, and then stop. So this makes them all uniform, okay, which is ultimately what you're going for. And this is the patience part, because obviously if they're all not the same size, when you go to match them up with icing underneath, you're going to be sad. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see these back ones. Now the trick is start in the middle of your circle and stop when it gets to the outside. If you start sideways and not in your middle, you'll end up with one that's not the right shape. They're the test runs. They're the ones you practice, you know, does your middle taste good? See this one here? I haven't actually been in the center. Try again. So I'm holding it just up off the paper. I can't even see this one. There it is. So that, so it's about 3/4 of a centimeter. I'm holding the piping bag off the paper.
so that gives it plenty of space to expand, and press out sideways. I'm not moving the bag around. It's not a circle. It's just pressing out into a big blob, really. Okay, and then pulling up at the end. It's like now the pull up at the end is like a little point. I don't know. I don't think I press down. I think I just go straight up. You can see those first ones. I just want to point out to you. Can you see the first ones are already sinking, which is what we want? It's perfect. That's what we're going for. Okay. I'm going to stop at this tray in a second, and then I'm going to show you what to do to finish the tray. Oh, I need to see. There we go. The paper's kind of lifted a little bit, and I couldn't see. And I need to see. I am not confident at this otherwise. Don't worry if it's a bit like that one where it's a little lumpy. It'll settle in a second, okay? And you'll see this in a second. We're going to tap the tray. And this is in the instructions. I'll read it off the screen to you in a second. How good is guided cooking? I don't know about you, but things like this, and sorry if my hand's in the way, concentrating. This is where I'm really incredibly grateful for guided cooking, because would I even anticipate trying this without guided cooking? No way. So have guided cooking and I can give it a go and try it, and I'm finding success. How cool is that? So this says to tap the baking tray twice on a flat surface to release any air bubbles. They give you a video. Okay, I'm simply going to go. Can you see still? Yep. So I'm going tap, tap, and you see a bubble actually came out of this one over here. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to carefully dislodge my bottom. Because it's not inside a tray, it's on a tray, it's easy enough to just remove. And now I've got that to put in under my next bit of baking paper on my next tray and go again. Okay, so next it says, let the macarons dry until they're dry to the touch. So these are going to, I guess, somewhat dehydrate on the bench. When you brush your finger over, it does not leave an indentation, and it's going to be approximately 30 minutes or more. No, it's incredibly humid already here today. I suspect it's going to be an hour or so until I can do anything with it. I would like to just show you, don't stress if some of them are a little pointy still. This will sink. Okay, these are those last ones I piped. Have a look at the first ones I piped. They're already really pretty, okay? Then we're going to bake them for 15 minutes. This is low temp, 135 degrees. Until a foot develops. Now the foot is where on the macarons they actually have that little bounce up, and you've got that little bit of, it looks raw, but it's not raw underneath. That's what they mean by the foot, that little tiny bit there. If necessary, turn the tray and bake 10 minutes more. Now that's going to depend on your oven, yeah? Remove and cool. Carefully peel off one piece of one piece. If the macaron pulls off completely, continue with the recipe. So what we're looking for there. If you've ever made my little macaron kisses, we talked about, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago now. When you're taking them off, if they're not done, when you pull it off the baking paper, the inner will stay. It'll leave the inside soft, gooey bit behind. With the macarons, you don't want that. So they're saying cook it a bit longer if it does, okay? If it's got that little inner bit after sitting and resting until cool, then... Now, it doesn't say cook longer. It says to actually just, yeah, it does. Cook another 10 minutes. I was like, is it just on the bench? No, we do. We cook another 10 minutes. So you let it cool. If when you go to take it off the baking paper, the center comes out of it, put the oven back on 130, put them back in for 10 more minutes. Okay? Remove from the oven, now allow it to cool, and then they make icing. And I'm going to do a different icing recipe. I'm going to show you that on YouTube later, like when I put this all together this afternoon. So please come back on YouTube tonight and watch the entirety of how to do that. I will be including photos of what it looks like with the foot, what it looks like underneath. I'll take as many photos as I can along the way to show you this. But I hope this gives you the confidence to start and have a go at this recipe, okay? Hello, Roz, lovely to see you on. I hope you'll give these a go. All right, it's not as scary as it thinks. I'm actually really stoked that I managed to do it. I still have 3 more trays to pipe by the fourth tray total. I know that the patience will be running out, so I've just got to go slow and steady with it. But macarons, French macarons, easy, achievable in your Thermomix. If you've got questions, let me know, okay? Give it a go. It is well worth doing from hot ingredients you have in your house. And if you have issues with your eggs, number 1, check out yesterday's vinegar wash recipe video. But number 2, don't let them go to waste. Put them back with the yolk and use them in another way. Hello, Annette. Lovely to see you on. We've just made macarons. You're catching the very end today. But I hope you give this a go. I can't wait to hear about your success as you do. Keep an eye out on YouTube for the rest of it, the icing, well, the middle bit later and things like that. Okay, so come back tonight. That'll be about 7 o'clock tonight on YouTube. You will see that. But otherwise, guys, have a fantastic day. I hope you have a great weekend. I do have a video that's going to pop up over the weekend as well. Not as exciting as macarons, but just a helpful hint tip video. So otherwise, take care and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Okay, it has been half an hour. Actually, it's been 45 minutes. I put the Thermomix timer on. I love the timer. It means the machine doesn't go to sleep and just keeps me on track so I don't get distracted. So I ended up with 2 and a bit trays. This is a slightly bigger rose gold than this one, and then this little leftover. So actually, I don't think you need as many as they said. So just get rid of this, and I'll just tell you what we're going to do next. So we're actually now putting this into the oven at 135 for, oh, and by the way, talking about it, they said make sure that the top is dry when the finger passes over it. So if you touch it, it doesn't kind of move. I think if you pushed hard enough, you'll indent it still, yes. But it's kind of, I think the almonds suck the moisture, which is why they dry out so easily. So perfect. Bake for 15 minutes at 135 until the foot develops. So they're going to stand and you're going to get a little, you'll see it. I'll show you. I'm going to come back when we get to that stage and I'm going to show you. If necessary, bake for 10 minutes more. Let it cool, and then if it peels off in one piece, and I talked about this earlier, what you're looking for. So I'll return after the oven step and I'm going to show you what they look like. We'll see you then. Okay, they are out of the oven. I did a 15-minute cook. Because I had 3 trays, I rotated the trays around and spun them as well. And then they are done, okay? I kind of figured it was better to do over than under. So a couple of tips that I have noticed from this. Those that were in the edge, you can see here I've got a bit of a rise up on my baking paper. You can see some of them didn't get a really good foot. Now you might be wondering, what on earth is the foot, Lisa? Let's have a look. By the way, you can see they are lifting off really nicely, which tells you they're cooked beautifully. The foot is this little bit at the bottom. See how it's lifted and it's got the little bubbly edge? That's a good macaron when you see that, okay? These are coming off beautifully fine, all right? If that is coming off with soft underneath there after it's cool, that is telling you that it needs longer in the oven. Put your oven on 135 again and put them in for another 10 minutes. But these are all coming off beautifully. The only other thing I noticed is this one over here. You can see that it obviously didn't have the mix combined through really nicely. So just one other thing to note, the kids noticed there's 35 on that tray, so they're not going to mind with a taste tester beforehand. If you want to see how to make the filling for this video, okay, you've got to this point in time, I'm going to put the link up the top for a sneak peek. It'll come up tomorrow anyway, but if you want early access to see their beautiful white chocolate ganache I'm going to fill it with, that's where you're going to find me do that in a second. But give these a go. Like, totally blown away by actually how simple they are. I can't believe it's taken me this long to actually do them. I'm imagining some green and red ones on the Christmas table this year, or even like your red and white. I think that would look absolutely stunning. Then with the beautiful alternative color in the center as the filling. So many options, and it's so easy and achievable with your Thermomix. And also that making memories with those you love. Getting them to pipe the filling with you. Getting them to be part of this process so that you're building those memories that are going to last a lifetime. But if I can help in any way, reach out. I love to hear from you. Share these videos. But otherwise, take care, and I'll see you in the icing video real soon. Bye for now.